Welcome to the Snapshots of History channel. This iconic photograph, often associated with the Vietnam War, is one of the most powerful visual statements about the brutal realities of war. Captured by American photographer Horst Fass in 1965, the image shows a young soldier, his face covered in dirt and grime, wearing a helmet with the haunting words "War is Hell" etched into its surface. This iconic photograph, Migrant Mother by Dorothea Lange, has become a symbol of the Great Depression. The worn face of the woman and her deeply anxious gaze reflect fear and uncertainty. The children press against her, hiding their faces, finding solace in her presence. This image captures the essence of human struggle. A mother, exhausted but strong, ready to endure any hardship for the sake of her children. It immortalized the suffering of millions during that era, becoming an emblem of the time. This powerful photograph captures a dramatic moment during the early days of the Berlin Wall. A young East German border guard, Konrad Schumann, is seen leaping over barbed wire into West Berlin, fleeing the oppressive regime. Taken in 1961, this iconic image symbolizes the deep desire for freedom and the human cost of division during the Cold War. This dramatic photograph captures the catastrophic explosion of the Hindenburg airship on May 6, 1937, in Lakehurst, New Jersey. The German Zeppelin, once a symbol of technological progress and luxury, burst into flames while attempting to land, resulting in the deaths of 36 people. The fiery destruction of the Hindenburg marked the end of the airship era and remains one of the most shocking moments in aviation history, forever ingrained in the public consciousness. This iconic photograph was taken at the 1936 Berlin Olympics and shows African-American athlete Jesse Owens standing on the podium after winning a gold medal. Owens, representing the United States, gave a salute as the national anthem played, while Japan's Naoto Tajima and Germany's Lus Long stood on either side. This moment is powerful not only because of Owens' athletic achievement, but also for its political context. In Nazi Germany, where racial superiority was promoted, Owens' victory shattered Hitler's propaganda of Aryan dominance. This image became a symbol of triumph over racism, inequality, and prejudice, cementing Jesse Owens as an enduring figure in both sports and civil rights history. This striking photograph captures the Baker test during Operation Crossroads in 1946, a series of nuclear tests conducted by the United States at Bikini Atoll in the Pacific. The massive explosion created a towering mushroom cloud rising from the ocean and sending shock waves across the water, with ships visible in the distance. This image symbolizes the dawn of the nuclear age, illustrating both the destructive power of atomic weapons and the beginning of a new, terrifying chapter in human history. This iconic photograph captures the moment Muhammad Ali stood victorious over Sonny Liston during their rematch on May 25, 1965. Ali, having knocked Liston down with a powerful right hand in the first round, stands over him, shouting for Liston to get up. The image symbolizes Ali's dominance in the ring and his fiery personality as he asserted his greatness to the world. This iconic photograph, titled "Raising a Flag over the Reichstag," captures the defining moment of Soviet victory in Berlin during the final days of World War II. Taken on May 2, 1945, the image shows Soviet soldiers hoisting the red flag with the hammer and sickle atop the Reichstag, symbolizing the fall of Nazi Germany. It stands as one of the most recognizable representations of victory over fascism. This iconic photograph captures a pivotal moment in American history as workers carefully add the 49th star to the US flag, marking Alaska's admission as a state in 1959. The massive flag, symbolizing the expansion of the Union, hangs proudly as men meticulously adjust it from both the ground and rooftop. This image reflects a moment of national growth and optimism, with the addition of Alaska heralding a new era for the United States. This striking photograph captures the eerily empty Wenceslas Square in Prague during the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1968. A lone wristwatch in the foreground marks the exact moment of occupation, while the deserted streets, usually bustling with life, stand in stark contrast to the tanks and military vehicles further down the square. The image symbolizes a time frozen in fear, resistance, and the crushing of the Prague Spring, when the Czechoslovak people's hope for reform was brutally suppressed. This evocative photograph captures Che Guevara, one of the most iconic figures of the Cuban Revolution, walking through the streets surrounded by supporters and onlookers. The image symbolizes the charisma and revolutionary spirit that made Guevara a global symbol of rebellion and anti-imperialism. This powerful image, known as Tank Man, was taken during the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests in Beijing. A lone, unarmed man stands defiantly in front of a column of tanks, halting their advance after the Chinese government violently suppressed pro-democracy demonstrations. His act of courage, captured by photographer Stuart Franklin, became an enduring symbol of resistance against oppression. This iconic photograph captures Margaret Burke White, one of the first female photojournalists, perched atop the Chrysler Building in New York City in 1934. Fearlessly standing on the eagle-shaped gargoyle, she prepares her camera to capture the city below. Her poised stance amidst the dizzying height symbolizes her pioneering spirit and boldness in a male-dominated profession. This iconic photograph from the Vietnam War captures the intense scene of American helicopters dropping troops into the thick jungle during a combat operation. The photograph embodies the chaos and fear that define the conflict, symbolizing the immense challenges faced by ground forces and the overwhelming use of air power. This playful and iconic photograph of Albert Einstein, taken in 1951 by photographer Arthur Sasse, reveals the lighter side of the genius physicist. In an unguarded moment, Einstein sticks out his tongue at the camera, breaking the stereotype of the serious scientist. This image, widely celebrated, has become a symbol of Einstein's wit, humor, and unconventional personality, contrasting sharply with his profound contributions to science. This haunting photograph, taken by Kevin Carter in 1993 during the famine in Sudan, depicts a starving child collapsed on the ground as a vulture waits nearby. The image, capturing the brutal reality of hunger and suffering, became a symbol of the devastating humanitarian crisis in Africa. The photos stirred global outrage and compassion, sparking debates about the role of journalists and the ethics of capturing such moments. Carter won the Pulitzer Prize for this image, but This iconic portrait of Winston Churchill, taken by photographer Yusuf Karsh in 1941, captures the British Prime Minister's resolute spirit during World War II. The stern expression and powerful stance convey Churchill's defiance and unwavering determination in the face of the Nazi threat. The story behind the photo adds to its intensity. Karsh had just taken away Churchill's cigar moments before, leading to this unscripted display of irritation. This poignant photograph, taken during the Blitz in London in 1940, captures a rescue worker carrying a child from the rubble after a bombing raid. The man's determined yet gentle expression contrasts with the destruction around him, symbolizing the resilience of the British people in the face of war. The image highlights the human cost of the conflict, as civilians, especially children, became victims of the relentless air raids. This captivating photograph shows the legendary jazz musician Louis Armstrong playing his trumpet in front of the Great Sphinx and Pyramids of Giza during a 1961 tour in Egypt. His wife, Lucille, watches in admiration, creating a moment that bridges two rich cultural histories, jazz and ancient Egypt. Armstrong's music transcended borders, and this image symbolizes the power of art to connect people and cultures across time and space. This famous photograph, taken by Alfred Eisenstadt on VJ Day in 1945, captures a moment of pure jubilation as World War II comes to an end. A U.S. Navy sailor passionately kisses a nurse in Times Square, symbolizing the relief and celebration that swept across the United States upon hearing the news of Japan's surrender. The spontaneous kiss amid the bustling crowd